If you're tuning in tonight, don't. Turn your radio off, throw your earbuds across the room, do whatever you have to do. Just don't listen to what I am about to say. Because if you stick around, you'll hear something you can't unhear. Something that started with a single phone call. Something that ended with, well, you'll find out. Good evening, Denver, I said, clearing my throat as the red on-air sign glowed above me. This is Miles Hunter coming to you live at 12:03 a.m. from station 94.6, The Peak, your late night home for confessions, heartbreak, insomnia, and all the strange things that happen after midnight. Back then, I still believed the night was my friend. The studio was cold that evening, colder than it usually was. I could see a thin fog on the glass in front of me when I spoke. The vents hummed softly above my head. The building was quiet, just me, an empty hallway, and a stack of unscreened callers ready to spill their souls. I took a sip of cold coffee, tapped the mic, and leaned in. You live on the Peak, talk to me. A woman with a shaky voice came first. Divorce, cheating husband, a new apartment she wasn't sure she could afford. I talked her through it, kept her calm, the usual. Call after call, I did what I always did, listened. Then at 12:47 a.m., line 7 lit up. Line 7 never lights up. It's technically dead, a leftover from the old phone board, disconnected years ago. I frowned, hesitated, then pressed the button. You relive on, it is going to hit the west side first. The voice was male, calm, too calm. He spoke like someone reading instructions off a card. I blinked. Sorry, who is this? Tomorrow morning at 9:14, a gas explosion on Wadsworth. 23 injured, 4 dead. I forced a laugh. Man, this isn't the prediction hour. You got the wrong show. I never get it wrong. Something in his tone made my skin crawl. It wasn't threatening. It wasn't mocking. It was factual. What's your name? I asked. I don't use names anymore. Well, you're gonna need one to be on the air. There was a short pause, and for a second, I thought he hung up. Then, call me. Tomorrow. I muted the mic, leaned back, and rubbed my eyes. What the hell? I whispered to myself. This had to be some prank. Some bored night trucker with too much caffeine and not enough sense. I unmuted. All right, tomorrow. What exactly are you? The explosion will be the first thing on the morning news, he said, followed by a segment about a missing woman in Lakewood. They won't find her for 3 days. My throat tightened. Is this some kind of joke? No, but you'll think it is. Everyone does it first. Something clattered behind me, the sound of a chair shifting on its own. I froze and slowly turned around. The studio was empty, but still cold. Too cold. All right, buddy, listen, I said, trying to steady my voice. If you're trying to scare people, I'm trying to warn you, Miles. My heart skipped. How do you know my name? He didn't answer, just breathed. Slow and controlled. You should go home early today, he finally said. Don't stay for the overnight edits. Don't wait for the sun. Just leave when the show ends. Why? A long silence. Because this is the last night you'll feel safe. A chill shot down my spine. And tomorrow, he continued, you'll understand everything. The call dropped. The line didn't beep. It didn't click. It just went dead like the person disappeared mid-sentence. I stared at the console, suddenly aware of how loud the hum of the monitors was. The vents blew another icy gust over the back of my neck. For the first time in years, I cut to an early music break. My hands were shaking. At 2 a.m., after the show ended, I stepped outside into the icy February air. The parking lot was empty, quiet except for the distant sound of a snowplow scraping the streets. I walked toward my car, still thinking about the call. Tomorrow? What a stupid name. What a stupid stunt. Then my phone buzzed. Breaking news alert, West Side gas line under investigation. Residents report strange odor, my breath fogged in the cold night air. It had begun. The next morning, at exactly 9:14 a.m., the explosion happened. It tore through a block of shops on Wadsworth Boulevard. 23 people were injured. 4 were confirmed dead, exactly as the caller said. That night, Line 7 lit up again, and for some reason, I answered. The red on-air light flickered twice before turning solid like it was hesitating. I'd never seen it do that in all my years at the station. My palms were sweaty on the console, but I tried to sound normal. Good evening, Denver. You're listening to 94.6 The Peak. I'm Miles Hunter, and, well, it's been one hell of a day. The phone boards lit up immediately, people calling to talk about the explosion, to ask if their loved ones were okay, to vent, to cry. I stayed calm, focused, pretending like I wasn't waiting for Line 7 to glow like a silent threat. 1:13 a.m., 1:27 a.m., 1:42 a.m., no call from him. But the longer he stayed silent, the more the studio felt wrong. The vents breathed cold air across my shoulders. The hallway outside was black. The motion-activated lights weren't turning on. Every 30 seconds or so, I'd catch a faint clicking sound in the walls, like someone slowly walking a fingernail across metal. I kept telling myself it was nothing. I'd been awake too long. I was paranoid. Then Line 7 lit up. It didn't just glow. It burst into bright red, so suddenly I flinched. I swallowed hard and pressed it. You live on the peak. You didn't leave last night when I told you. His voice was exactly the same, calm, steady, and motionless. Like he wasn't calling from a phone, but reciting through time itself. Oh look, I'm not doing this again, I said, trying to sound bold. People died today. If you knew that was going to happen, you should have called the police. The fire department. Someone who could have stopped it. I did call someone, he said. I called you. Why me? You'll understand in 40 hours. I felt something move behind me, a shift in the air. Like someone had just walked into the studio, standing directly over my chair. I didn't turn around. I couldn't. What do you want tomorrow? I whispered. To keep you alive? That sentence hit me like ice water. What happens? Why would I be in danger? You already are. A quiet inhale. They know you can hear me. Who? Don't turn around. My body locked up. I mean it, he said sharply. Don't turn around. I closed my eyes. My heartbeat throbbed in my ears. Something behind me gave a long, slow exhale, warm breath brushing the back of my neck. There's nothing there, I whispered to myself. There's nothing. I told you not to talk, he said. The thing behind me shifted again. Not a person, too tall, too close. The air around me pressed inward like the studio walls were shrinking. Tomorrow, I barely breathed. Tell me what you want. To warn you about the next event. Another disaster? No. A pause. This one is personal. My stomach dropped. Tonight at 3:07 a.m., he said, a man will go missing on East Colfax. You'll think it has nothing to do with you, but it does. Because tomorrow morning, you'll find out that man was. The studio door creaked. The caller stopped talking. Something moved in the hallway. Slow footsteps approaching the studio. Bare feet on tile. The hair on my arms stood straight up. What is that? I whispered. You need to lock the door, he said quietly. Now. I'm live on air. Miles. Lock the door. The footsteps came closer. Soft. Sticky. Like the floor was wet. I shot up from the chair and slammed the studio door shut, twisting the lock with shaking hands. The footsteps stopped just outside. Miles, the caller said, do not open it. Something brushed against the door, not a hand. More like knuckles dragging downward. Then a faint tapping. 1, 2, 3 taps. Miles, the voice whispered through the phone. That isn't human. I backed away, my spine pressing against the equipment rack. My breath came out in fast bursts. What do? I whispered. Stay inside. Stay awake. And keep the lights on. The tapping stopped. For a moment, everything went silent. Then, from underneath the door, a thin line of dark liquid began to slide into the studio. Thick, deep red. It spread slowly across the floor, reflecting the glow of the on-air light. Somewhere outside, a man screamed. The caller spoke again, voice low. "They've started early." I stared at the blood seeping in, my chest tightening, my hands trembling so hard I could barely keep hold of the mic. "What's happening to me?" I whispered. "You were supposed to leave yesterday," he said, "before they found you." "Who?" "Found me for what?" The caller exhaled sharply. "They're listening." "I can't." The line cut out. Not a click. Not a drop. It sounded like someone yanked the cord from reality itself. The studio lights flickered. Once, twice, then steadied. Outside the door, the soft footsteps returned slow, deliberate, pacing back and forth. And for the first time in my life, I didn't want to finish the show. I just wanted to live long enough to see the sun. I kept staring at the crack beneath the studio door, watching the dark red liquid thicken and slowly dry. Whatever or whoever was bleeding out there, the sound of movement had stopped. No more dragging footsteps, no tapping, just silence thick enough to suffocate. I forced myself to speak into the mic, voice trembling. "Folks, we're taking a short break. Stay with us." I killed the feed. The station stream cut to backup ads. Suddenly, it felt like the entire building exhaled. The caller was gone. Whoever or whatever was outside had gone quiet, but the cold stayed. The clock above the soundboard glowed. 2:58 a.m., 9 minutes until the time he warned me about. 3:07, a missing man on East Colfax. Someone connected to me. I paced the studio, my breath fogging in front of me. Every now and then, I looked at the small, round window on the studio door. Thankfully, it was dark outside. No faces, no movement. Then the hallway lights flickered on by themselves. My heart slammed against my ribs. Someone was out there. I approached the window slowly. The fluorescent lights buzzed, shaky and weak. The hallway was empty, just a long stretch of tile leading to the lobby. But the blood on the floor outside the studio door was gone, completely gone, like it had never been there. My breath hitched. I backed away from the door. My phone buzzed on the desk. A text. Unknown number. "Don't leave the studio. Don't look for me." I froze. "Tomorrow." The caller. I typed back with shaking thumbs. Who was bleeding outside my door? 3 dots appeared. Then no one you can help anymore. I swallowed hard. What do they want? You. A chill shot through my spine. The vents above me hissed loudly, as if something massive was crawling through them. The sound traveled across the ceiling slow, deliberate. Dust drifted from the grate above the doorway. Then a voice whispered through the vent. "Meals." I stumbled back, knocking over my chair. "Meals, open the door." It wasn't human. Human voices don't stretch like that. Don't drip into your ears like warm oil. Don't scrape across the inside of your skull. I covered my ears. "Stop," I whispered. "Just stop." The hallway lights flickered again. This time, when I looked through the window, I saw someone standing under the nearest light. A man, mid-30s, slumped shoulders, wearing a dark green jacket and jeans. He wasn't facing me, he was facing the wall like he'd been placed there. Like a doll, I pressed closer to the window. "Hello?" I called out, voice cracking. "Hey, are you okay?" The man didn't move, but the hallway speaker system crackled to life. Static, a low hum. Then a voice I hadn't heard since I was 12 years old. "Hey, champ, you still awake?" My chest collapsed inward. Dad. It was my father's exact voice tone, cadence, even the way he stretched vowels when he was tired. But my father had been dead for 15 years. "Son," the voice said, soft and warm. "Open the door." My eyes burned. My breath shook. For a moment, just one moment, I wanted to believe it. Wanted to believe he was out there, waiting to hug me like he used to after my nightmares. But the caller's voice echoed in my mind. That isn't human. The man in the hallway slowly turned toward the studio door. Not his whole body, just his head. It rotated in one unnatural, shuddering twist, all the way around until his chin was pointing over his spine. I stumbled back, slamming into the mixing console. The man's face was pale, eyes wide, mouth open, as if frozen mid-scream, but his body didn't move. Only the head, upside down, staring at me through the glass. My phone buzzed again. Don't look into its eyes, too late. The man's jaw began to move, opening wider and wider until the skin around the cheeks began to tear. Dark fluid dripped down his neck. From that impossible mouth came my father's voice again. I'm so proud of you, Miles. Open the door. I squeezed my eyes shut. No. The lights went out, pitch black. The vent above me groaned, metal creaking under weight. I dropped to the floor, curled tight, counting my breaths. Slowly, faintly, emergency lights buzzed back on a weak red glow that made the room look drowned in blood. The man with the backwards head was gone, but something else had replaced him. A shadow taller than the doorway stretched across the hallway, slowly moving, breathing, waiting. My phone vibrated one more time. They found you. Stay alive until I call again. The shadow drifted closer to the studio window. And for the first time tonight, I knew the caller hadn't been warning me about a disaster. He'd been warning me about them, whatever they were. And whatever they wanted with me was coming fast. The basement door groaned open like it had been holding its breath. A cold draft rolled up the stairs, wet, metallic, almost animal-like. Josh tightened his grip on the flashlight. Mom, stay behind me. She didn't argue this time. Step by step, they descended. The basement looked nothing like it used to. The concrete floor was covered in muddy footprints, circling the room, small, fast steps. Like something pacing, waiting. At the far wall, the wooden paneling, the one Grandpa always warned them never to touch, was cracked open, and behind it was a space that absolutely should not exist. A narrow stone tunnel stretched deep into the earth, carved with scratch marks. Some marks looked fresh. Josh's flashlight flickered as if something inside the tunnel sucked the energy out of it. Josh, look, Mom pointed at the ground. A pair of tiny brown shoes. The same kind Grandpa used to force Josh to wear as a toddler. Josh swallowed hard. Those shoes were burned. Grandpa burned them. I saw him. A soft tapping echoed from somewhere down the tunnel. Tap, tap. Like knuckles gently knocking on a wooden door. Mom's voice cracked. We need to go back upstairs. But the tapping grew louder, closer. Then a whisper slid along the walls. Joshua, I remember you. The voice was wrong. Too thin, too stretched, like a recording played backward and forward at the same time. Josh froze. His breath turned to frost. A small shape appeared at the end of the tunnel, only a silhouette, but unmistakably child-sized. Slowly, it stepped forward, its joints bending in unnatural angles, like a marionette controlled by shaking hands. The shape spoke again. You left me in the room. Grandpa locked me in. You forgot me, Mom whispered, trembling. What room? Grandpa never. Josh shook his head. I don't remember any of this. The shape giggled high-pitched, broken, echoing like it had learned laughter from humans, but didn't quite understand it. I remember for you. Then it ran toward them, not like a child, not like anything that had ever belonged above ground. Josh shoved his mom back up the stairs. Go, go. They sprinted, the creature scraping up the steps behind them, claws on wood. They slammed the basement door shut, and the impact from the other side nearly ripped it off the hinges. Thud, 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 scraw, ab, ab. Mom grabbed the phone. No signal. Josh, there's nitrogen monoxide signal. The creature pressed its voice through the crack under the door. Let me in. I know your name. Josh backed away, shaking. I think Grandpa didn't die of old age, he whispered. He was hiding from this. The creature scraped a single long claw across the wood. Slower this time, almost loving. You're next. Then suddenly silence. The house went still. Mom whispered, Josh. Where did it go? Josh listened. No scraping. No breathing. No footsteps. Nothing. He approached the door slowly, carefully, holding his breath. Just as he reached out, a voice whispered directly behind him, right here.